It is Wednesday, the 21st day of June 2023. Welcome to Primetime News right here on KUTV. Now, the National Assembly proceedings, the third reading of the Finance Bill 2023 is ongoing, and the increment of the fuel levy from 8% to 16% has sailed through. We have this story and many more, but first, let's get a proper introduction of our bulletin this evening. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Sami Okello. My name is Joseph KEES. We're also live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya, and you can share with us your feedback on Twitter at KUTV_Kenya and at KEES Joseph Kenya. Now, Kenyans will soon incur a pain of double tax on fuel. This is after the Parliament approved the doubling of fuel VAT from 8% to 16%. The clouds sailed through amid contention and opposition from the minority MPs, as 184 MPs voted to introduce the increment, which stages a rise in fuel prices in the country. Take a look at this report by our very own Joseph Oyomo.
Kenyans are now staring at tough economic times after MPs approved the contentious 16% VAT on fuel. Majority of members in the parliament voted for the clause which seeks to double the tax on fuel.
As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a counter opinion say nay. Yes. We have ascertained we have the numbers for a division raised by the minority side.
The heated debate saw minority MPs contending to shoot down the bill, which they maintain to be punitive and burdensome. Their efforts, however, proved futile.
This will be the saddest day in the history of this country. Madam Chair, if there is one thing that is going to affect the common person, if there is one thing that is going to increase the cost of living in all aspects, it is this proposed increment on the VAT on fuel, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, we all know for sure that fuel is a driver of our economy.
Azimio MPs warned that the move to increase tax on fuel will stage a major crisis in transportation, manufacture, production, and electricity costs. They decry subsequent escalation of prices of essential commodities and overall rise in cost of living to Kenyans on grassroots.
Mboga ambao wanaenda sokoni wataenda na mafuta ya gari gani waweze kujikimu? Hawa bodaboda mlikuwa mnawazungumzia wataweza kufanya kazi zao vipi? Serikali msituchezee. Hii mafuta ushuru ubaki 8% au rudi 5 na si 16%.
In defense of the bill, Majority Chief Whip Silvanus Osoro explained that the government has taken measures to mitigate the impacts of the 8% increase. His counterpart Kimani Ichung'wah supported the claims, noting that the government has played a significant role in checking fuel prices in the country through critical government interventions.
Rise in VAT by 8% will occasion a rise in fuel prices, Honorable Speaker. But it must not be lost on us that without the G2G intervention on fuel prices, today, with the dollar trading at 140 shillings plus, the cost of fuel today without the necessary interventions done by this regime would be at a figure of about 210 plus shillings.
The move will now revert back the 2018 decision by the government in place to lower fuel prices to 8% in a move which seeks to cushion Kenyans from the adverse impacts of high living costs. A total of 184 MPs voted in favor of the clause against 84 who refuted. Joseph Oyomo, KUTV.
And the Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry, Moses Kuria, this morning appeared before the Senate for questioning on the procurement process of over 125,000 metric tons of edible oil by the Kenya National Trade Corporation. Kuria denied any misappropriations in the over 16 billion shillings deal, with Azimio senators staging a walkout of the chambers after Speaker Amason Kingi refuted a censure motion against Kuria that was initiated by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna. Munene Weru reports.
I said where I come from. Order.
Kuria Senate grilling took off on a high note, evidencing a morning tiff between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio senators. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna delivered a censure motion against the Cabinet Secretary for Trade, Moses Kuria, dated 19th of June 2023. Sifuna, in the motion, stated his distaste in the conduct of the former Gatundu South MP.
Honorable Speaker, I wanted some clarification or guidance from the Chair, pursuant to Standing Order number 1. Mr. Speaker, by way of information, the person listed to appear before the Senate this morning, the Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Trade, Honorable Moses Kuria, Mr. Speaker, is the subject of a censure motion that I filed in this Senate on the 19th of June 2023.
Moses Kuria fought for his soul, contesting every allegations linking him to the controversial importation of over 125,000 metric tons of cooking oil. Kuria warranted that the procurement process adhered to every protocols as stipulated by the law.
Honorable Speaker and Honorable Member, I want to thank Senator Veronica Maina for that question. There is no distinction or exception in the way we treat edible oil in terms of procurement framework from other commodities. In fact, I would have expected the question to be, did we single source for rice and did we single source for maize?
Mwaneki and her sister Wamboi are perceived to have owned Palmer Holdings Company and Enterprise Supplies, two companies that were together awarded a whopping 15,000 tons in the oil procurement. Kuria denied any relationship with Mwaneki or her sister.
So I am not aware of the names of the shareholders, but I take notice of what Senator Chute has said. So in all fairness, I need to verify if these people have got any criminal record, because that would be the only thing to disqualify them, but that process is very open.
A load of criticism has encumbered the CS out of his recent controversial remarks towards nation media. Today, Kuria heated up the frenzy, introducing fresh claims that a cartel of 5 companies have been sponsoring the attacks against him. The trade CS mentioned that Kappa Oil and Refineries, Pwani Oil, Bidco, Menengai, and Golden Africa have taken over the editor's desk at Nation Africa. This, Kuria stated, was due to his unpopular move to take away importation rights from the 5 monopolies and channeling it through KNTC.
What is the problem with the edible oil industry? The problem with the edible oil industry is that 55 million Kenyans depend on 5 companies. If 5 companies collude and they decide to poison, all of us are going to be in very deep trouble. These 5 companies, Mr. Speaker, are Bidco, and I'll talk about Bidco later. There's a company known as Kappa, a company known as Pwani Oil, a company known as Menengai, and a company known as Golden Africa.
A decision to award importation tenders resulted in a loss of over 6 billion shillings by KNTC, with the Kenya Revenue Authority collecting a 10 billion tax waiver hit. Indeed, it's just the beginning. More revelations are on their way. Munene Weru, KUTV.
At the same time, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna has presented a motion in the Senate demanding that the Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria be investigated. This move comes following CS Kuria's speech on Sunday targeting Nation Media Group. According to Senator Sifuna, a high-ranking government official like CS Kuria should distance himself from such utterances. Sifuna now doubts Kuria's suitability for the position.
Na nimaliza nyinyi watu wa media kusema Nation Media muamue kama nyinyi ni gazeti ama broadcasting house ama media house ama ni chama cha upinzani. Na mimi nimesema kutoka leo hata sio kesho, idara yote ya serikali nitaona imeweka advertisement kwa national media, ukihesabu kwa nyumbani.
Those were the words of Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria on Sunday that mocked the media as he wanted them to be balanced in reporting and publishing their news. In his support, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua added that media houses are wrong and that part of Azimio Brigade trying to bring down the government.
To assure you, the nation newspapers, I don't want, whereas I agree with Moses Kuria that you have become rogue and you are part of the Azimio Brigade of trying to bring down the government, I don't agree with what he has suggested, that we stop advertising with you. We shouldn't, because we are democracy and we should be able to allow you to continue doing your job. Ours is to call you out. When you go overboard, we must tell you on the face. That is the strategy.
However, Moses Kuria's words were condemned by the citizens, civil society organizations, leaders, and the Kenya Union of Journalists in the country.
Nations will come, they will threaten us, but we must stand firm, because when we are doing this profession as journalists, we knew very well that circumstances will come like this, where we will become the target of the state. It has happened before, during our previous regimes, during our Moi regime, during the Kibaki regime, even our media house was raided, even during our President Kenyatta's regime, it happened. So we were not expecting anything new from our administration. This has always been adversarial kind of relationship between the media and the government world over. What we are trying to ask the government is, yes, we accept criticism, it has been there, yes, criticize us, but let us not go personal whereby we are using.
Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna was the reason to condemn the speech of Moses Kuria. While in an interview in a radio station today morning, Sifuna expressed his annoyance by Moses Kuria's statements and said that he has submitted a motion to the Senate to demand investigations over Kuria's utterances. Quoting Section 34 of the Constitution, which gives freedom to the press, Sifuna has slammed Moses Kuria for making statements that cannot even be discussed in public.
Now, Siaya Deputy Governor William Oduol has denied all charges leveled against him, including abuse of office, gross misconduct, and violation of the Constitution, when he appeared before the Senate Special Committee today for his impeachment hearing. The Siaya County Assembly alleged before the William Chesang-led committee that Oduol cost the county government expenditure of 18 million shillings, which was unbudgeted for.
Following his impeachment earlier this month by all 42 MCAs who voted to remove him from office, Siaya Deputy Governor William Oduol appeared before the Senate Special Committee led by Senator William Kisang today for the first hearing of his impeachment.
Welcome you back to the resumption of proceedings.
According to the MCAs represented by their lawyer Willis Otieno, who presented their case during the first hearing, Oduol compelled the county to purchase a presidential chair worth 1.2 million Kenya shillings and sign on a presidential table worth 1 million Kenya shillings, while the county faced issues such as hunger and inadequate housing. The lawyer further accused Oduol of interfering with the procurement process, violating the Public Procurement Act and attempting to influence the awarding of 86 road contracts. In response, the deputy governor defended himself, stating that he has become the target of a witch hunt. Oduol asserted that his troubles began when he raised questions about the withdrawal of substantial sums of money allocated for imprest. He claimed that between October 2022 and January 2023, the county withdrew nearly 100 million Kenya shillings in imprest. Oduol's clash with Governor Orengo has been ongoing for the past 3 months, with the deputy governor accusing his boss of turning a blind eye to corruption within the county government. The second hearing will be conducted tomorrow, Thursday, when the Deputy Governor will defend himself against the charges and the committee to table its report in the Senate on Monday next week. Patrick Oduor, KUTV.
And 2 police officers and 1 other local who were on a police vehicle that was escorting a passenger bus have been killed in an attack in Mandera County. The incident comes after the police car they were traveling in along Banisa Ram Road was hit by an improvised explosive device which led to 5 other officers sustaining injuries.
A police vehicle that was on escort duties accompanying a passenger bus in Mandera County was attacked by terrorists who hit them with an improvised explosive device. The police escort was a security measure as a result of an increase in the number of terrorist attacks recently in the area. The attack led to the loss of 3 people, and 5 officers who were injured are receiving treatment at Mandera County Referral Hospital. The attack comes just a day after a police camp in Guba Ward was attacked, which sparked a fight between police and the militants that lasted more than an hour. The terrorists are reportedly conducting attrition operations targeting both logistics and security officials near the Kenya-Somalia border. The deadly attacks witnessed in the area have instilled fear in residents who think more could be on the way. The increase in attacks in Mandera and the North Rift region has forced officials to ban non-locals from traveling on the roads in those areas. Amidst the ongoing campaigns to address the militant attacks, the border region has been a notorious breeding ground for the repeated attacks from the terrorists who are sometimes helped out by locals. Defense Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale noted that the government will modernize military and police artillery to help bring an end to the Al-Shabaab attacks. Ivy Bina, KUTV.
Now we send our condolences to the bereaved families, and we'll take a short break here on Prime Time News. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Approximately 400,000 women in Kenya suffer from symptomatic uterine fibroids. A fibroid is an uncancerous growth that develops in the uterus in women during their childbearing ages.
Yeah, so if someone has never been pregnant with a pregnancy that went to 20 weeks and beyond, they've been found to be more predisposed to getting uterine fibroids. Also, the black race. Yeah, being black is a risk factor as compared to the whites and Caucasians. Blacks have been found to get fibroids more frequently.
Uterine fibroids is manageable and preventable, and we should seek medical advice as soon as possible.
What are some of the ways through which you can develop these skills so that you are comfortably fitting into the job?
You have to put yourself in positions where you are uncomfortable in the sense that you are not clear about what to do.
Because I used to work a corporate job before. So when I left, I happened to visit someone's farm around this area.
So this project is called Security Breach Detector and Can is Familiarize. It is meant to be used to detect, detonate explosive.
We'll tackle all the tough issues, discuss all the weird moments, and hopefully share a few laughs along the way.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Let us continue. Now, Joseph Juma Boyuka, a suspected leader in Paul Mackenzie's group, has died from what is currently believed to be complications he developed after a 10-day hunger strike staged by him and other suspects while in custody. 2 others are also critically ill. Officials say a post-mortem is to be conducted to ascertain the exact cause of death. Paul Mackenzie is reported to have brainwashed his followers, encouraging them to fast to death. Meanwhile, detectives in Shakahola continue exhuming more bodies in the forest.
Joseph Juma Boyuka, a suspected leader in Paul Mackenzie's cult-like religion, has passed away, with the 2 others having been admitted at the Malindi hospital in critical condition. The death, which occurred 2 days ago, is said to be a result of complication occasioned by a 10-day hunger strike that some of the detained followers took part in. The suspects in question are said to have been aiding Paul Mackenzie, who is believed to have brainwashed his followers with false teachings, encouraging them to fast to death in Shakahola forest so that they may see Jesus. As the state reports, the suspect died while receiving treatment at the Malindi hospital, but a post-mortem is to be conducted to ascertain the actual cause of death. The deceased is among the 30 suspects transferred to GK prison by the court after they staged a hunger strike while in police custody. Last week, some of the suspects arrived in court emaciated and weak, with some unable to support themselves, prompting the court to have them detained in prison instead. This comes as the 4th phase of exhumation of bodies of the cult victims in Shakahola forest resumed after a halt that paved way for autopsies to be conducted. More than 300 bodies have been exhumed from the forest, with the number expected to rise as 613 people have been reported missing. Yvonne Kemuma, KUTV.
And demolition of houses at Kwabusta area in Athi River, Machakos County, has been in operation for 2 consecutive days. The demolition started yesterday night following orders by police officers asking the residents to leave their houses. The residents are calling upon the government to intervene and help them acquire justice. Salma Swale toured the scene today and filed his report.
Kwabusta residents are asking for help from the government after their houses were demolished by unknown persons in the wee hours of Tuesday night. According to these residents, they had not received any notice nor a court order asking them to vacate the area before the demolition exercise. These residents claim ownership of the land, with some insisting that they have been living in the area for many years and that some have their late parents buried in the land.
Hakuna karatasi tumeona ya title, kodi order hatujaona.
Kama sasa tumerushiwa tiangasi kwa kuwa tunasema tupewa kodi order.
Complaints of loss of property and children are heard from the residents during the chaos caused in the fight between the residents and the police and the demolition process itself.
Mimi vile najua hii shamba ni yetu. Na hii shamba inastahili ipewe local community. Na tuko na gavana wetu Wafinya Ndeti. Tuko na mheshimiwa wetu Makau Patrick Kingola. Si watushike mkono, watutetee hii shamba tupewe, maana ni yetu.
These residents were forced to stay out in the cold at night after their houses were demolished, claiming that they had not gotten any help from the government.
Sijui nitaenda wapi? Sijui watoto hata wengine mmoja hajaonekana kutoka jana. Sijui wameenda wapi. So hii shamba ni yetu.
Some youths who tried to barricade the busy Nairobi-Mombasa highway in protest over the demolitions were repulsed by the officers.
Kitu saa 7 ndo niliona makarau wamekuja, wakaniambia nitoe watoto nje na wakanibomolea nyumba. Nimelala pale Mombasa Road kwa barabara, hiyo baridi yote imenikula hapo na watoto.
However, according to the residents, this is the 3rd time their houses are being demolished.
For the 2nd day, the residents of this area are uncertain of where they're going to spend their nights after their houses being demolished. The question remains, who's responsible for this heinous act? Salma Swaleh, Machakos County.
And the government has established a special team to investigate police officers in Narok County who are undermining efforts to eradicate illegal alcohol brews. And County Commissioner Isaac Masinde and County Governor Patrick Ntutu expressed their non-tolerance to such actions during a meeting attended by government officials and NACADA representatives in Narok County. Junior police officers have been accused of accepting bribes from alcohol joints and creating ties with brewers, in which Masinde warned that officers involved will face dismissal or prosecution. Governor Patrick Ntutu, however, urged the police to implement government policies against illicit brews, which aim at shutting down non-licensed bars and those near schools.
Tungependa kuona baa ambayo iko karibu na shule zote zitafungwa, na tumekubaliana na security team ya kwamba hizo bars ambazo ama hizo sehemu ambayo wanauza pombe ambayo ni illicit brews zote zitamwagwa, na ule mwenye ambaye atatupatikana sasa akiuza tutachukua hatua, na hatua yetu ni kupeleka yeye jela, kwa sababu hatutaki watu wetu waharibiwe kwa sababu ya pombe.
Right, let's take a look at sports news. Now, the Council for East and Central Africa Football Association, that is CECAFA, Under 18s Women Championship, that was slated to begin on the 24th of June in Nairobi, has been rescheduled and will commence on June 29th to July 11th this year. Kenyan team Harambee Junior Starlets, who are currently training at the Nyayo National Stadium, are set to face fierce competition as the CECAFA Under-18 Annual Championship makes a return after 2 years. The draw for the tournament is set to take place later on this week, with Uganda, Tanzania, Zanzibar, Ethiopia, Burundi and Djibouti confirming their participation in the tournament. And the Football Kenya Federation Premier League title race is set to head down to the wire after league leaders Gor Mahia lost the league match 3-2 to Kakamega Homeboys in a match played at the Moi International Sports Centre. Defending champions Tusker have registered a 1-1 draw against Posta Rangers to move a point behind Gor, who are still at the top with 67 points with 1 game left to play. In other FKF Premier League matches, Sofapaka thrashed AFC Leopards 2-1. KCB beats Nzoia 2-0 as Kenya Police beat already relegated Vihiga Bullets 4-1. Right, that brings us to the end of our bulletin tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Our sign language interpreter has been Sami Okello. My name is Joseph Kess. Until we meet again next time, enjoy the rest of your night and your week.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment